We're going to tackle the pen tool today. It's something you're going to want to learn how to use whenever you're drawing in Illustrator. You're going to want to download the dog file from Schooloop and have it placed onto your desktop. And once you have it downloaded, you're going to go into Illustrator, set up a new file, and type last name, first name, dog, drawing. We're going to make this into inches. We're going to do 11 inches by 8.5, so we're going to do landscape and CMYK at 300 ppi. Now we need to bring this into Illustrator, so I'm going to do File, Place, and I'm going to put it onto the artboard. The first thing I want to do is I want to lower the opacity. So I want this to be a little bit lighter to look more like a transparent sketch. So under Properties, you're going to lower the opacity to about 50. Come back to Layers. We're going to start off by labeling this sketch, and we need to lock this. It is very important that you do not start drawing right on top of your sketch, because what's going to happen is at some point I'm going to turn off my sketch, and if I haven't made it into another layer, my sketch and my drawings are all going to come together, and I'm going to end up actually wiping out my entire project. So I need to make sure to lock it and create a new one. And the thing about layers is that you have to think of them as pieces of paper. So you want to work from the back forward. So I'm actually going to be starting with this leg right here. I'm going to be calling it back left leg number 2, because I'm also going to have number 1. And I'm going to zoom in so that you can see what I'm drawing. When you draw with your pen tool, you want to make sure that your fill is turned off. If your fill is not turned off, as soon as you come around to a certain point in your drawing, it's going to start to fill and cover up the sketch that's underneath. And so that's a huge problem. So we're going to go ahead and delete that. And we're going to turn this off from the start. If you end up accidentally forgetting to turn it off, before you delete it, you don't have to. You can come over here and just turn your fill off, and that will solve the problem. So I'm going to start with it turned off, and every time that I click with my pen tool, I'm clicking on an area where I feel like I'm probably going to have to curve my arch, and I'm going straight. Notice I'm not trying to follow the curvature of the lines. I'm going to go above, since it's going to go behind, and I'm not going to be seeing this part. Now, a long time ago, when you used the pen tool, you used to have to hand curve the arches, and it was a big pain. Now, you guys have the wonderful pen curvature tool that allows you to actually come in here and adjust the arches. So anyone who never used this before, who has used the pen tool, I think you can appreciate it. It makes a world of difference to be able to curve the lines after you've drawn them. We're going to go ahead at the end and we're going to finish off the detail of the foot. And I'm going to want to come from here to this path so that I can begin my second line. But you're going to have a bar that's going to follow you. So you're going to have to hit escape to deselect. And now you have the lines that make up your foot. The second layer or third layer that we're going to create is going to be the same. It's going to be back leg, back left leg number 2, or I'm sorry, number 1. And we're going to begin again, same thing with the fill turned off. Notice there's a lot of curves, but I'm not putting my pen tool I'm not having to worry about the curvature right now. Because what I can do is I can come back in here later and curve out the sections that I want to make it more natural. If you want to add this little bit of detail, you can. If you don't like something that you did, come back and make adjustments to the anchor points. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lock these as I go. My fourth layer is going to be the tail. I want to keep the tail separated from the main body because if I was to animate the tail, it'd have to be separated. So I'm going to again come in here. Notice I'm not coloring right now. I'm just focusing on the outline. I'm keeping with the detail of the fur as well. And I'm going to use the beautiful curvature tool to come in here. You can actually curve these in a little bit. Make them look a little more natural. Okay, tail is done. I would then work on my main body. The main body is made up of this area right here, not including the front legs and not including the head. So because I want to keep my head separated and my legs separated. So I'm going to come in here and start tracing. If you add the hair, it makes it look a little bit more realistic. Notice I'm going right over my leg, I'm going right over the tail. Because when I fill this in, it's going to cover all that up and I won't have to worry about it. I'm going to come, assuming this is where his neck is going. And I do have a lot more cleanup for this one, so I'm going to have to take my time to come in and arch out my lines. You need to zoom in at any point. That's a good idea. You want to get it as close to the original lines as you can. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here. So you want to take your arch out and then the inside in to give it that nice curve of hair. These fine little details make it all more realistic. I'm not going to worry about this because the leg's going to actually be in front of it. Same with this situation as well. Okay, I would keep going all the way through all of the different parts. I would outline everything. The only thing that was different was the eyes. I chose to use the ellipse tool, not the pen tool. The mouth I actually made separately so that if I wanted to make this dog talk at some point, you could add for the mouth, you could actually end up adding the tooth to the mouth layer. You could even add these slight arches or creases. and that will give you more detail. Also with the eye, I want to come in here with my ellipse tool again. Oh, I already have one, it just needs a stroke. So let's go ahead and turn on the outline of that. Okay, and now I'm going to go through and I'm going to start coloring my dog. So the thing to remember is that the back parts, the leg and the back of the ear, they have to be a darker value than the front. So if I decide for this foot to make this a lighter brown, and I'm going to make the body the same color, I'm going to need to make this back leg a darker brown. So I'm going to start with my light brown, and then I'm going to choose a darker color. Now, I could go click on the body, and I could click on here to get the same color as the foot, or I can use my eyedropper and pick up the color. So for this foot, I want it the same color, so eyedrop and grab that color. For this foot, I want to grab the back color, so I'm going to hit my eyedropper and choose that. Same thing with the head. I want the head the same color as the body, so I'm going to eyedrop. I'm going to pick up the head color, or the body color. Same thing with the tail. Select, eyedrop, grab. So you can start to see that the shadow, the darker areas in the back are making this look more three-dimensional. The ears, I can choose maybe a black or dark brown, and then maybe this one I'll choose a lighter brown, dark black color, and then the back one I'll come in with a darker color. The eye will be white. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and just choose this. This is going to be black. And my nose, I think I'm going to make that like a light pink or a light tan. I don't know. We'll choose something. Let's choose a tan pink. Okay, and I have a finished drawing. Now, the thing that I am going to do at the end is I'm going to turn off my sketch. And so now you have a finished dog. This is where you can have some fun. If you decide to do a background, you're going to have to put it, remember, at the end of your list, at the bottom, because you want to build, because the background technically is the first thing that would go down on the layers. So I would make a new layer. I would call this background. I can even be more specific. I can call it ground. And maybe put some type of pathway for my dog. And then maybe I want to do a sky. If you were to animate the sky, you could do a panning background. So you can have some fun with the details that go into this. And there you go. You have your dog.